in two minds, and that gives the defender time to make up their mind and dispossess him. You know, so there's a lot of things he's doing that's pretty average, to be honest with you. As I said, I'm not going to get on his case too much, but at the end of the day, I want to see a little bit more. I'm finding him bang average, to be honest with you. He came to the club with a big CV, and I'm not really seeing this kind of big CV. And it's all right. Listen, I'm not calling it a farmers league, and I'm not calling it a poor league. So it's all right scoring goals in Portugal, but when you're coming to the Premiership, you've just got to add a little bit more to your game. And I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. Hopefully it will come good, but he has got to start very, very soon, because if Havertz gets fit and he gets thrown on, and we know the relationship between Havertz and Arteta.
Yeah.
And Havertz suits Arteta's system. So he could be looking over his shoulder at this stage. He could be looking over his shoulder if it doesn't work out for him. Because at the moment, I think if Havertz was fully fit, I don't think Gyökeres would be starting.
Gyökeres is holding.
And that might upset a lot of the Arsenal faithful, and I understand that, because you want it to happen. But because we haven't had a number 9 for so long, so we're really kind of clutching at it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But if you take your Arsenal hat off and actually look at how he's playing, it's hit and miss for me. It's hit and miss for me.
So when do we get concerned, DJB? Because I know obviously it's early in the season. He's adapting. He's doing all of that kind of stuff. Obviously he has got 3 goals, but I think he ain't scored in like 6 now, and maybe that has an element of not scoring. Because
I think the next run of games, DJ. I think the next run of games are favourable. You know, when you got Sunderland, you know, when you're going to away grounds like Sunderland, newly promoted, hostile environment, they're the sort of games you got to bag, just to sort of silence the crowd and get the fans behind you. So I think the next run of games are favourable up until the North London derby. I think we've got Fulham away, which is a tough one, Palace, Sunderland, and in between that we've got Atleti, and then we've got the North London derby. So I think the next 4 games is key for Gyokeres. I think if he's not scoring, I think if he goes for the next 4 games and doesn't score and doesn't really impress, then I think there's concerns whereby we can think to ourselves, well, you know, have we signed another Francis Jeffers or something like that? You know what I mean? I hope not, but we have seen it in the past, Kenny, haven't we? We have seen strikers come with a big CV, and for some reason or another, it's not that they're a bad player. For some reason or another, the club, the environment, the tactics, the players around them, it just don't suit them. So I'm hoping that's not the case with Gyokeres, but I think the next 4 games will be key.
Can't disagree with that, DJB. I think you're quite sensible and quite rational in your thoughts. Kenny, where are you at with the West Ham game and Gyokeres, or any players you want to highlight or thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, West Ham had a game plan, but unfortunately they haven't got good play. They haven't got good enough players to game plan it. When they had a better team 2 years ago, and to a certain extent last year, they would have probably really got away with it. I mean, when you've got someone like an outlet like Kudos, which they had last season, there's a reason why they were able to implement their game plan. And then 2 seasons ago, when they beat us 2-0, again they had tigerish players. Paquetá got injured in the warm-ups. He didn't play, but they had Souček, who runs all day for them. They could have done with him in a game on Wednesday just gone. The thing is, I know some Arsenal fans are frustrated that we didn't see it out in terms of see him off and give him a play at attacking football. But as I said previously in the shows, this is who we are. That's our DNA. Our DNA isn't about playing front full throttle football on the front foot. It's all about getting an early goal, making ourselves difficult to beat, and then when the opposition gets tired, then we go for the kill. That's how we play. We just have to like it and lump it. You know, that's how it was like against Olympiacos, and that's how it was against West Ham. If you can't handle it,
2 identical kind of games there, Kenny.
If you can't handle it, then you can't have it both ways, because it is who we are under Arteta. In terms of like performances, Declan Rice's performances was fantastic because he played where he should have played. You know, it's no good. There was no need for him to sort of play in the number 6 position, especially when Zubimendi came on. So as soon as he came on, I think that's when he played his best football. I know people go Timber the man of the match, but I thought Declan was played really well in that number 8 position. Yeah, in other instances, Saka, there was an issue regarding Odegaard, in terms of getting injured. I don't think that, in turn, opens the door for 2 players. It opens the door for Eze, and it opens the door for Nwaneri. If you're Nwaneri, you'd be slightly frustrated that we bought Eze, especially now that now that the captain's injured for quite a while.
Sorry to cut you, Kenny, but does it really? Because the last 2 times Odegaard got injured, obviously it was like when Yeri came on, you had Rice and Zubimendi. Now, the West Ham game, as you all know, it was Eze, it was Odegaard, it was one of Rice or Zubimendi initially, which we wanted to see, right? But he then he kind of reverted. So it's like, is it really as clear cut?
But you think about it. Eze can't play the number, isn't a good, and will never be a good sort of left-sided forward in an Arteta team. So the vacant position for him is probably the number 10. So it's his if he wants it. But we've asked a youngster to sign a 5-year contract, knowing full well that he's not very good as a right winger, but his position where we think he can play his best football is where Odegaard plays. So it's basically like a shootout for that position. And maybe they will be frustrated, because obviously if you sign a new contract and you're promised and you think you're going to get games and you're part of the manager's plans, you've got someone who's just come in with a bit of seniority in England International, the main man at Crystal Palace, and a player that every Arsenal fan wanted. So that will carry its frustrations.
Saying that, Marino's an option there as well.
But that's only if you're playing against a team that's going to have more possession than you as an attacking team and it's got a better attack than you. Then of course you're going to want to go defensive. And Marino's a fantastic option, especially the way we play, where we don't exactly play on the front foot. Marino's a no-brainer for the manager, not for us, but for the manager. But in other issues as well, Saka, he didn't do much, but you can tell that his presence, brings a lot of quality. He didn't have a great game. Eze didn't have a great game either. But
it's funny shooting boots, Eze. I'm honest.
Yeah, but the situation is I want to sort of clarify, or maybe this chat can give me some clarification about. There seems to be an issue regarding the penalty. I think people seem to forget that, and I'm going to go on it because I disagreed with Lee about it. I disagreed with Dane. Disagreed with quite a lot of people. But then I agreed.
Let's hear it, Kenny, man.
But my brother agreed with me. We seem to think that because we signed Gyokeres, that Gyokeres is a penalty taker. He's our penalty taker. I just want to clarify 2 things, and this is my opinion. I think if you're a striker, scoring penalties is a cheat code. I'll tell you why.
It's a bonus.
I sound like an old fogey, but I didn't grow up with strikers taking penalties. You did, DJB.
Hey, you told me that, and I find it baffling. Yeah. That's foreign to me.
I wouldn't lie to you. One of our greatest ever goal scorers, Ian Rush, one of the best British goal scorers, strikers after Jimmy Greaves, never took penalties. Jimmy Greaves, I think he might have took the penalties, but I have no idea. Gary Lineker only started taking penalties at the World Cup in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, he's played for England 6 years before without taking a penalty. Andy Carroll never took penalties. Alan Smith, one of our greatest ever strikers, and the man before Ian Wright, never took a penalty. He got us what I'd say a sympathy penalty to get his hat-trick against Man United. But apart from that, he was not a penalty taker. Yet he got one of the golden boot in 89 and 91. I'm just reading it off. But the bigger issue for me is Saka's our penalty taker. People seem to think because Gyokeres took the penalty against Leeds that he's a penalty taker. Well, let's get something right. Saka, if my memory serves me right, was off the field when that penalty was given against Leeds. Unless my memory serves me right. he was off the field.
Arteta did say Gyokeres is the best penalty taker at the club, though.
Yeah.
Being devil
And he actually got injured in that game, which enabled Madueke to have a run in games. If Saka was on the pitch, he would have taken a penalty. So if Saka's on the pitch against West Ham, he should have taken a penalty. So you should have given the penalty to Gyokeres. What for?
But they did give it to Kai. Remember, Kai got this.
Kai hadn't scored. It's not the same thing. Kai hadn't scored, and Kai was getting a roasting from the fans. That's a fact. The fans,
but you got a proven hitter. For what it's worth, Kenny, I'm with you. I didn't.
It was also 2-up, wasn't we? I think when he gave the penalty to Kai.
Exactly. But every
that's
podcast
why I agree with Kenny
season,
and obviously
took it in turns to give Kai a kicking. I've got the tapes. If you think I'm lying, I've got the tapes. I've got the transcripts. I can play them to you right now if you want. So when I say that's a sympathy penalty, it's deserved. Gyokeres shouldn't be getting that penalty. For a start, he scored 3 goals this season. And by the way, there's someone in the chat that thought that DJB's criticism of Gyokeres was unfair on the basis that he scored the same amount of goals as Ekitike. So when you're saying you use that goal to give him a bit of confidence, well, you can't have it both ways. Either he's had a good season so far, or he hasn't. So if you're giving this penalty, you're agreeing with me and DJB by saying he hasn't had a good season. So make your minds up. I mean, I'm all for a sympathy. The sort of thing your wife gives you if you do the shopping. If you know what I mean. I'm all for that. But come on, let's be honest. Let's be honest here.
I weren't ripping into Gyokeres. It was constructive criticism.
No, it is constructive, and it's deserved constructive criticism because the other day, let's not forget, the manager's first choice was Šeško. And when you see Šeško's technique as compared to Gyokeres's, you can see the point. Gyokeres, if he's not getting a service, then then what will happen is that he'll find it very difficult to do something, have the je ne sais quoi, what I call.
But don't that apply to half the strikers we're linked with? I get your point.
It doesn't apply to Harry Kane.
Yeah, Isaac and I get that. Isaac, Harry Kane, he can make something out of nothing.
But the way Arsenal fans are talking, but the way Arsenal fans are talking about this guy when he was originally for sale, when he was originally we're going through like the acquisition of him, they were going on like he is a Haaland, like he is a Kane, and I respect that because of his.
Haaland, he's nothing like Harry Kane.
What I'm trying to say is that the guy played in the Superliga in Portugal, which is no problem with that, and he played for Coventry. I'm just saying, if any Arsenal fan is complaining about him not getting a service and complaining about Mikel Arteta not moving the wheel, well, this is my message to.
Last 3 games that doesn't cut it with me.
But this is my message to the fans of Eze and the fans of Gyokeres. This isn't Crystal Palace, and this isn't Sporting Lisboa. This is Arsenal. This is Mikel's team. We've all been calling for Mikel to change the style of play, but he isn't because he's effective and it suits the players he's got. So Gyokeres has got a chance to actually bed himself in because he's the only striker. There's no competition for him because Jesus is injured and Havertz is injured. But what I would say is if it doesn't improve, he doesn't score the goals, and he doesn't get in tune the way we play, I don't think any Arsenal fans should complain if he does try and get Havertz in the team. He's got to run again.
Doing the job, you need to try something else, isn't it?
Without a shadow of that, and let's not forget, Havertz is part of the squad that everyone Arsenal fan claims is the strongest in the country. He is part of that squad,
and everyone's a starter in their own right. This is what fans do say, so you can't have it both ways.
Well, he's thinking with our fans, and I say it respectfully because the chat are not like that. There are some fans who think that we can only talk about Arsenal if we're praising them, and we have to talk about Arsenal. So, for instance, if someone like Sports Goals talks about the best midfielders in the country at the moment and says it's Tonali, and then you've got someone saying, what about Declan Rice? I think, well, if he did mention Declan Rice and mention Tonali, he surely made his mind up. Why do we have to always include an Arsenal fan in everything? an Arsenal
We bite
player.
the bait too much, man. I said this on my stream earlier. I was like,
Mm.
as an Arsenal fan, ignore it. Like, who really cares if
It's
Tonali's better
actually-
than Rice
it's
or
actually
not?
quite
But
cringy. It's cringy,
we're getting
isn't
them
it?
engagement, innit?
Mm.
Yeah, we're just proving to people hate Arsenal that we
They
are
do, but a
we
lot
are
of our
the
fans are
cringy fan
soft,
base.
man.
We're soft as butter, aren't we?
Just bite into everything. Like, just bite into everything. I do.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with why people bite, but just ignore it. We all know we keep the lights on for half of these media platforms. They'll just if they don't mention Arsenal and probably United second, they're not paying their bills. So just ignore it. But as a society, let alone football, we haven't learned to ignore these things. This kind of rage bait. So I don't think it's gonna change, man. It ain't gonna change.
Paul Scholes isn't having a go at Declan Rice. Paul Scholes has played the game. A lot of people in Europe think see him as a superior player to Gerrard and Lampard, and these are players like Zidane and Iniesta and Xavi. They rate him. You know, everyone in Spain rates him. He's one of so.
I don't even think it's a mad shout to say Tonali's better than Rice. I don't agree with it, but I don't think it's mad.
It's Paul Scholes' opinion.
I don't really try and compare who's better. As long as Rice is doing the business for Arsenal, that's all I worry about. I mean, because it's everyone's preference. I mean, I can go through a list of players as long as my arm who's better than most of the Arsenal team, but over the years. But and some of those are Arsenal players in with it. But it's the job they're doing for the team at the time, the system that we're playing at the time. And at times it's not pretty to watch, but I'm now starting to think to myself, well, look, it's not about being pretty now. I just want a trophy
over the line.
You know, I just want to get over the line, and that's all I'm looking at. But as for Gyokeres, I'm not. If you listen to what I said, I'm not ripping into Gyokeres, and I have been saying I'm hoping that he will come good, and I'm sure he will. But any football fan, whether you're an Arsenal fan or whether you're not Arsenal fan, and you look at it from just a football point of view, if you've played football at whatever level, I'm just a little bit disappointed with his all-round performance. And he scored 3 goals, but one of them was from the penalty spot. So he scored 2 goals in open play. Right? So 2 goals in open play. Ignore the penalty. 2 goals in open play. And if you look at all his other attributes, I don't think he's had any assists. He's not had any assists.
This record at Sporting was dead. I tried to tell people forget all of that. Like,
he's not assisted. He's not assisted. Shots on target is very, very low. Shots all round is very, very low. So his input as a striker that we all wanted at the moment, whether you like it or not, whether you think I'm being harsh or not, if you just look on paper at the stats of Gyokeres, he's not producing. Now, you can't be in the mindset that just because you're an Arsenal fan and just because we're Arsenal fans, we've got to say everything positive about every single player.
And it's all sunshine and
Sometimes
rainbows.
when you go on platforms, you have to look at it from a football point of view and take your Arsenal hat off. And I'm sorry,
just be logical.
He's not doing enough for me, and I'll stick by that. When he does, I'll praise him. If he goes and bags 5-6 goals in the next 4 games, and his performances warrant it, I will praise him. But getting back to the penalty, I'm bang on with Kenny. I'm absolutely bang on with Kenny. I don't see why you should have to hand over the penalty just because the guy's having a tough time and everyone wants to get him on the score sheet.
Do you think he should have made a scene? Do you think he should have taken the pen, like taken it off?
No.
I know it would have made a
listen,
scene.
what you got to remember from, right? The other thing that you missed as well is that Saka's come from Howe End. He's born and bred an Arsenal player. He's in his 200th appearance.
He's evidently a lot more confident than Gyokeres, and it's 1-0 to us. He
also missed a vital penalty against West Ham.
I was hoping he wasn't going to mention that, but he did
at the London Stadium. So he wanted to get back. He wanted to put that to bed by scoring.
And let's have it right. Saka wants his own goals for the tally sheet as well come the end of the year.
Any player that's on his 200th appearance that's bred and born, that's been brought up through the academy, that's come through the academy and everything else, and you're captain at the time, you're stepping up to take that penalty. You're not giving that away. You're not giving that away. So I can fully understand where Saka was coming from. And you don't give a player a penalty just because you want to, just because everyone wants to feel better. Because
the team comes first, bro. Collective
because Gyokeres is having a bad time, give him the penalty, let him score, and then everyone can start talking brilliant things about Gyokeres. No, Saka took the penalty. He was right to take the penalty. If Gyokeres wants people to stand up and go, whoa, yeah, we've bought something special here, then he shouldn't be relying on penalties, Gyokeres. Go and do it in open play, like you did against Leeds. You know, we want to see more. We want to see more of that. We want to see more of that type of thing. But I'm a little bit confused how we're playing him. And I said this, I think I might have said it on your show a couple of weeks back, DG. I'm a little bit sure of what Gyokeres' role actually is. Is he a target man? Is he a link-up player? Is he there just to kind of bully defenders? Or is he going to be in the box as an out-and-out goal scorer?
Because this is what we knew, DJB, though, man. We knew that any striker we signed, you're going to have to... I'm not even criticising Arteta. It's just a fact. You're going to have to conform to what Arteta wants. It's going to sound mad. And I know, obviously, people got common sense. But it feels like, to me, not just this year, but for years, goals are the least important thing that we want from our number 9 because we've seen who's led it. That's what I was about to say, yeah. It's almost a bit weird because... from what you can read and see about Gyokeres prior to this club, everybody kind of had him down as, he bags goals for fun, general players kind of ugly. I think it's kind of the complete opposite in that. For me, I see you working the channels, you're dropping deep, you're occupying centre halves, but you're never in the box. Now, on one hand, you need to get yourself in the box. You need to make a meal of things. But there's also times where I think he's involved in the build-up play. It's just, you're not Superman. You can't kind of get there. That's why I said, like you were saying, how you said on the stream earlier, that's what I was saying a few weeks ago. I think he's adapted to the system. I don't necessarily know we've adapted to him. Now, granted, though, in these 3 games we've played,
we can't
think that kind of works anymore. I don't think it flies.
We can't at Arsenal. The situation is...
Surely we can tailor it. Because it ties into this question on the screen.
Necessarily, because you think about it. Against Olympiacos, we played the same system, but what was happening is that
his decision making
put him in some fantastic situations, got the ball early, put him through a ball for him to run on and score. He had a shot, hit the goalkeeper, made a save, went on the post, might nearly, put it in. And then there was another instance where he's put through. It's not just so much his lack of service, but the fact is that I made a point last season where he sometimes in that league, you've got to shoot the ball early, you've got to hit the ball early. Sometimes you don't get the time. Like, for instance, in Newcastle, instead of shooting early, he cuts in. Against Olympiacos, there was one time he got the ball out of his feet, and now you shoot. But he took another bit of time, and that's when he got tackled. And so the chances are for him, and players will make chances. The situation is that with Gyokeres, he is what he is on the team. A lot of people think that that we got this like super striker, and that all we got to do is he's going to be the missing link. Not necessarily. He would have been a great way to be that. May not be up to him. The guy who will help you win the league. It'll be a team game, and Saka be winning. Let's not forget Saka's a goal scorer as well.
Yeah. I mean, I just think with Gyokeres, the goals will come. I just think he's got to find out a way. Sometimes you can try too hard, can't you? I mean, listen, I'm not knocking his work rate. I mean, he works. He runs into the channel. He's always trying to be available. He closes down defenders. His work rate is absolutely. Perhaps he's trying too much. Perhaps he should be a little bit more selfish and go like, "Well, look, I'm getting."
I think he's too nice. If I'm honest,
I think he should be being a bit more selfish and thinking to himself, "No, I'm here to score goals. I'm going to be in the box," and perhaps get the ball early. Go and demand it off the midfield players and take it off the midfield players. And turn and run at defenders, because that's what I'd like to see sometimes. Because there's opportunity. There's sometimes when there's defenders sort of camped at the back, along the back, and Rice or Zubamendi's got the ball, and Gyokeres is kind of trying to run beyond the defender, looking for that through ball or looking for the long ball. Sometimes I think to myself, no, go Go short and get the ball off them. Go short and get the ball off them. Turn and then you run at them or make something happen. So I do feel a bit sorry for him in a way because it ain't. It's really hard with Gyokeres because he's not playing awful. It's just that he needs. I'm just not seeing. I'm just not seeing what I was hoping to see. If you know what I mean.
The thing is, you say you're not seeing. You're saying you're not seeing what you're hoping to see. The fact is that what you're seeing is his actual footballing ability and his striking ability. Because he didn't play any different.
Come on, Kenny, man. That's a bit disingenuous.
I hear you,
but come on, man. The Sesko fanboy's coming out in you now, man.
It's not about Sesko. Technically, he's a mess. But that's not a problem.
Technically,
he's not a mess. He's just not pretty.
He's not
pretty. He's not good.
It's horrible to watch to a degree. But
I saw Adebayor much more technically gifted.
100%. Gyokeres ain't the most technical striker I've ever seen.
This is not.
But there's Havertz revision even being done in our fan base, which I find mad.
But DG, this isn't the Sesko appreciation show.
I'm just messing with you, Kenny.
But look at the way he's hold up play on Saturday at Old Trafford, and now you've got players into the game. That is what I call technically a player that knows his job. Obviously, he's never going to be. He hasn't got a record of a Gyokeres who can score goals. Feed the goat and he will score. That kind of striker.
That's my mentality with Gyokeres, bro. Like you're just giving me 5 out of 10 link up play.
This guy was marked out the game by Arsenal. I mean, come on.
What Sheshko?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, what Sheshko did on
you're right.
At Old Trafford, that's what we needed. We need Viktor to be able to do, but he can't do it. So he got to get into.
To be fair, he did do it against Newcastle. To be fair,
yeah, and he did.
I just think he's the ugly footballer. Just give him the ball, put it in the back of the net, and yeah.
The thing at Arsenal, right, is that the way we play is in their DNA where we're going to make ourselves difficult. But first and foremost, we can't be broken down. Of course, we've got the players. We want to be on the front foot. But first and foremost, the players that are integral to the low block is Timber. Timber is one of the reasons why we're difficult to beat defensively and why we've got a strong defence. He's for me, he's the sole reason. Then you've got a goalkeeper behind who just basically saves us 15 points a season. That's our structure. And then there's a situation where we will create chances. But you've got to remember one thing. How we play, it's Saka's team. Doesn't matter whether you're Chris or Eze here. It's Saka's team. So most of our players are going to go down the right and chances will be created. But obviously, they're going to be a premium. It's not going to be like as Lisboa and Coventry where, boom, look up, boom, he's made a run. Great,
I do think we could look to do that a bit quicker, though. Like, we're not going to do that consistently, but I think we can do that.
Primarily, our best form of attack over the last few years is playing down Saka's side. And I don't see it changing for you.
The only thing I'm worried about, defensively, we're solid. We've got a goalkeeper that's up there with the best. We've got a brilliant right back. We've got 2 centre halves, and we've got a left back, midfield, winger, striker,
hybrid, chaotic
Whatever
player.
you want to call him. Whatever you want to call him. A loose cannon. But the thing is, right, my biggest worry is defensively we're solid, but how long can we rely on being defensive solid if you're not scoring at the other end enough? Because if the goals are not coming from Gyokeres and they're only coming from Saka, then going forward long term, that could become a bit of a problem. We do need to start scoring goals from elsewhere.
And that's why I mentioned Newcastle, DJB, for a couple of reasons.
Exactly.
Because I think we've been very critical on Arteta, but to a degree, these last 3 games, the players are not putting the ball in the back of the net. Saka's had chances, Trossard had a chance, Gyokeres has had chances.
Exactly.
I feel the players need to up it in that regard.
And like free balling, I mean, it's a good comment. I mean, he occupies defenders to free it up for other wingers. Well, there's no good freeing up other wingers if the other wingers are not scoring. You know,
and we knew that's the job of being
and getting back to Gyokeres, DG. Sorry to cut you off. Getting back to Gyokeres, we bought a number 9 to score in the big games. We bought a striker to score against the Liverpools, the Man Uniteds, the Newcastle at St James's Park. That's what we was missing for years and years and years. We were going up to St James's Park and all places like that, thinking, "Oh, if only we'd had a striker." Scoring against Leeds and your Burnleys at home, no disrespect to them, is not the issue. We signed a bagsman to go and score in big games. And
to
in
be
the big
fair,
games,
though, Liverpool United City, we didn't give him nothing. And he
no.
was President marked out.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
hear you, though, generally.
Defensively going forward, we're solid. Midfield, we're fairly solid, right? But the problem is, how long? And as you rightly said, DG, I mean, if you've got a concern, you can only go so far defensively. You've still got to score goals. Because
that's the game we love, isn't it? Keep them out of your net, put them in the back of the opponents. It's a simple game,
exactly.
really.
Because teams will find a way. Teams will find a way to stop you from scoring, and then you get the draws and everything else coming back. And it is a little bit of a problem.
Let me ask you this as well, yeah. Like, do you feel Arteta's changed? Like, do you think he's put the handbrake down? Because I must admit, I wouldn't say it's exciting, but I keep saying Newcastle. I was pleasantly surprised by Newcastle. Obviously, Olympiacos we didn't bag, but I think it kind of piggybacked off the previous game where we're not putting the ball in the back of the net. West Ham, it probably should have been at least 3-0 to us, really, between Eze and Cole. But like, do you think he's found that balance of kind of what we're alluding to and what we've been saying? Like, we're great defensively. You got Rice in midfield, give or take, or Zubamendi. Now let's do attack is the best form of defense type of thing. Where are you at with that?
You know what I think is that he's got the options. Last year we were crying out for it, but I think this season there's no doubt in my opinion. No doubt he's got the options. The options are there. The players are there, so he can. You look at his starting lineup. The starting lineup involved Gyokeres. Sorry. Starting up in the midfield was Eze, Odegaard, and Declan Rice.
We've been crying for that. Us three were saying, Eze's going to drop to the bench. He's going to persist with Odegaard. We got robbed of it because Odegaard.
In essence, how he started, it was for us to try and get on the front foot. Unfortunately, Odegaard got injured, but he brought on Zubamendi, and that enabled Declan Rice to push up the field and play at number 8. Well, I feel he plays his best football. Let's not forget how our approach. I expected a very negative selection at St James's Park, but Eze got in the team, and Eze showed what he can do in that first half. So, I suppose if we were to sit down with Mikel Arteta, the first thing he'll say to me, he said, "Look, I haven't had the players in the last couple of years. I've had to play a certain way because my bench has been strong. Now I've got a good bench. Now